I should have anticipated it, the smug grin, the thinly veiled scorn, the subtle tug at his designer cuffs before launching into what he assumed would be another verbal blow to his lesser sister. Still tinkering with that little website of yours, Emma? Michael asked, swirling an aged scotch in a glass that probably cost more than what he imagined I earned in a month. We were gathered for the monthly family dinner, a tradition that had morphed into a performance review, with the mahogany table as center stage. It had hosted 2 decades of sibling competition. Tonight was just another scene in the saga. Michael, as usual, played the rising star, now Boston's youngest partner at Preston Hayes, the city's most elite law firm. I glanced down at my plain black dress, no logos, no sparkle, and smiled faintly. Yes, still at it. Charming, he said with a bored drawl. Something online, isn't it? Across the table, our mother, Elizabeth, gave me her usual look of mild disappointment. She'd never understood why I declined law school. In her mind, success wore a tailored suit, carried an Ivy League degree, and vacationed in the Hamptons. We build e-commerce platforms, I said evenly, slicing into my steak. We help businesses grow online. Michael let out a short, mocking laugh, the one I'd known all my life. So, digital flea markets, must be nice to keep busy with side projects. I thought of the pending mergers, the IPO discussions, the upcoming expansion into Southeast Asia, but I didn't say a word, not yet. Michael just made partner, Dad said proudly, as if the room needed reminding. Fastest track in the firm's history. And, Michael added, squaring his shoulders, we're finalizing the biggest client the firm's ever landed. It's going to be huge, tech giant, billions in play. I took a sip of water, hiding the grin tugging at my lips. If only he knew. That's amazing, sweetheart, Mom gushed. Emma, maybe Michael could help you clean up your little business, make it more professional. I'm doing just fine, Mom. Fine isn't impressive, Michael chimed in. One of our interns has a sister who's looking for admin work. She might have some tips for you on how real companies function. The chandelier's soft light caught the wall behind him, lined with degrees, newspaper clippings, and awards, all celebrating Michael. My section? Still bare. I'd left law to build something different, something bigger. Tell us about this tech client, Dad prompted, clearly enthralled. Michael sat taller. Can't say much yet, but think industry changing, think online commerce on a global scale. I folded my napkin carefully, recalling the contract I'd signed that morning, our company officially becoming Preston Hayes' largest client. With one caveat, I'd remain anonymous until the launch meeting. Oh, and remember Sarah Peterson from school? Michael leaned in. She just sold her company, 8 figures. That's how it's done. Some people just get it. He looked straight at me. Mom tried to smooth things over. Emma's business is just quieter, smaller scale. That's okay. Michael chuckled. Small is one word for it. She could have been someone Harvard Law practically begged for her. Instead, she's building online kiosks. I thought of my headquarters, the actual one, not the office space he imagined. 40 floors up in the financial district. My view could swallow his. How many employees now? He asked with mock interest. Still you and that friend? We've grown a little, I said. In reality, over 3,000 employees, 12 countries. But what's a number? Growth is relative. He smirked. If you ever need help shutting it down, I'll waive the consultation fee. Family perk. Dad laughed. Mom shifted the tableware. The air was thick with the scent of lamb roast and assumptions. Actually, I said, laying down my fork, I might be needing a firm soon, for expansion. Michael blinked. Expansion? Of what? Your Etsy for businesses setup? Emma, come on. He had no idea our back-end tech was years ahead of the industry, that Amazon had tried and failed to copy us, that our last valuation had made headlines, quietly. You never know, I replied calmly. Markets shift. So do people. Not everyone, he said smugly. Some of us were built for real success. Others, well, they find their place. Dessert arrived. More updates from Michael. New penthouse. New club membership. Another feature in a glossy business magazine. Emma, Mom began gently. Joyce Thompson mentioned her daughter's company is hiring junior marketing roles. Should I send your resume? I thought of the stack of resumes in my inbox. From Harvard grads, from Silicon Valley execs, from people desperate to join the company her daughter built. I declined the offer politely, though what I didn't say was that Joyce Thompson's daughter had applied for a position at our firm just last month. We'd turned her down. Thanks, Mom, I'm good. Are you, though? Michael pushed, his voice laced with faux concern. Seriously, when's the last time you took a real vacation? Bought something nice for yourself? Felt what actual success looks like? I studied him, really studied him. Beneath the tailored suit and well-practiced bravado, I saw something else, insecurity. Not fear of me, not yet, but fear of slipping, of losing the throne he'd built atop old money and ego. Success isn't always something you can see, I said quietly. He laughed, loud and cruel. In our world, it is. It's measured in headlines and corner offices. That's why some of us land business monthly covers, and others, he gestured at my plain attire, my modest watch, others just exist. What he didn't know, what none of them knew, was that tomorrow, his world would tilt, that the billion-dollar tech client he was so eager to announce would turn out to be the company his little sister co-founded, that the legacy he believed he was building would come crashing down the moment I walked into his conference room. But tonight, I let him have his moment. Pass the dessert, Mom, I said with a smile. After dinner, as I headed to my car, my dependable Volvo, the one Michael always mocked, my phone buzzed. A message from my CFO. Acquisition papers signed. Law firm briefing tomorrow at 10 a.m. All clear for CEO reveal. I glanced back at the house, up toward the dining room window. Michael stood there, recounting his big win to Dad, convinced tomorrow's client meeting would be his crowning achievement. I whispered to myself as I unlocked the car, ready to approve your first billion-dollar deal, big brother? 5 years earlier, I had sat in a strip mall office, not because I was struggling, but because I was building something in secret. I'd left my job at Preston Hayes the same week I filed my first patent. Michael had watched me leave with a smirk. Finally figured out law's not for you? He'd called out. Don't worry, not everyone's meant for real success. What he didn't see was what I carried out in that cardboard box, early code, a business plan, and a vision to solve one of the biggest failures in e-commerce infrastructure. I founded Nova Technologies that week. The strip mall front was a decoy, 2 buildings down. My real team, 5 brilliant minds passed over by Silicon Valley, worked around the clock. Cheap coffee, whiteboards full of formulas, sleepless nights. That was the foundation. Mom would call. Michael's making partner, you know, and you're still doing that computer thing? She had no idea. None of them did. 9 months later, we made our breakthrough, a transaction engine that processed online sales 50x faster than anything on the market, with near-perfect accuracy. The servers crashed during testing. I called our first investor at 3 a.m. It works, I said. Great. How much do you need? 20 million to start. Done. But we stayed quiet. No press, no launch parties, no public name. We built in silence, scaled in stealth, and let our product speak for itself. Within 2 years, we were quietly powering transactions for major retailers and global brands. Our system became essential, but we remained invisible. Michael would text, "Still running your cute little site?" I'd reply, "Someone has to," while seated in my skyscraper office, 40 floors up, with a panoramic view of the city he thought he ruled. Our valuation hit $1 billion. I celebrated with a penthouse across from his firm. I watched from my window as he strutted to work, oblivious. Global expansion followed. Asia, Europe, the Middle East. We scaled without noise. Our clients signed NDAs. We had no face, no logo, no press kits, only results. And still, every family dinner. You should apply somewhere with benefits, Mom would say. Joyce's daughter is doing so well. She had no idea we had passed on Joyce's daughter, twice. When it came time to retain legal counsel for our next phase, my team presented the top 5 firms. Preston Hayes was on the list. I chose them on one condition: the CEO would be introduced at the first official meeting. And Michael? He'd taken the bait like it was legacy-defining. The clients called Novit. He bragged at dinner. Biggest deal we've ever landed. I smiled and nodded. Nova Technologies had grown faster than I ever imagined. We were moving $3 trillion a year in transactions, with more than 3,000 employees across 12 countries. But to my family, I still ran a little website business. Tomorrow, I'd walk into Michael's office, not as Emma the underachieving sister, but as the CEO of the very company he believed would crown his career. My phone buzzed again. Board approved. Full green light for global rollout. Estimated valuation, $11. 4B. I closed the message, looked out my window at the skyline I now helped shape. Michael still measured success in floor space and club memberships. That was fine. Tomorrow, I'd show him what real power looks like. And it wouldn't be wearing a designer suit. The security guard greeted me by my holding company's name. The partners are expecting you, Ms. Wilson. I stepped through the lobby, heels quiet against marble. Michael turned at the sound. Then, registering my plain dress, my minimal presence, dismissed me without a second glance. Running late, Emma? He called, voice steeped in that familiar superiority. The cleaning staff entrance is around back. Laughter rippled through the partners around him. I smiled calmly, walking past them toward the executive elevator. Actually, I'm right on time. Michael's tone sharpened. This is for clients and execs only. I raised my access card, the one issued to Nova Technologies' CEO. His eyes narrowed in confusion, but the doors were already closing. See you upstairs, brother, I said softly. The conference room was pristine, floor-to-ceiling windows, leather chairs, a breathtaking view of Boston Harbor. Partners were seated, senior counsel ready. Michael entered moments later, straightening his tie with theatrical pride. The CEO of Novati should arrive shortly, he announced to the room. This is a historic day for Preston Hayes. I sat at the head of the table and opened my laptop. Let's begin. Michael blinked. We're waiting on Dash, the CEO of Nova Technologies. I looked up. She's already here. The room fell silent. Michael froze. No, he whispered. I stood, smoothing my dress. Hello, everyone. I'm Emma Wilson, founder and CEO of Nova Technologies, also known as Novit. The managing partner recovered first, smiling wide. Ms. Wilson, we had no idea. Michael's voice cracked. This can't be right. Emma runs a small web design shop. She's no one. I clicked my laptop. The screens lit up with Nova's true stats: global dominance, revenue, infrastructure, valuation. Each figure dimmed the light in Michael's face. As you can see, I said, we're entering a major expansion phase. We'll need comprehensive legal support. Your firm came highly recommended. $3 billion, Michael muttered, staring at the numbers. But you drive a Volvo. 5-star safety ratings, I replied coolly. Now, about the contracts. For the next hour, I led the meeting. The room was riveted. Michael remained silent, stunned, watching the career-defining moment he thought was his slip through his fingers. We'll need a dedicated team, I said at last. But due to personal history, I don't believe Michael is the right fit to lead it. The managing partner nodded quickly. Understood. Ms. Wilson. Finally, Michael spoke. Why didn't you tell me? I met his eyes. Would you have believed me, or just called it another silly dream? The room emptied. He stayed behind, staring at the screen like it might change. All this time, he murmured. The shop, the clothes. Not all success wears designer suits, I said, packing up. Some of us build empires quietly. He blinked. Mom and Dad. They'll know now. I handed him my real business card. Family dinner should be fun. I turned to leave. Wait. I was awful to you. Yes, I said simply. You were. How did you do it? I paused. Same way I've done everything. Quietly, relentlessly, without waiting for permission. The elevator ride down was silent, the skyline of Boston unfurling around me. In the distance, my real office tower gleamed, the strip mall, where it all began, barely visible but never forgotten. My phone buzzed. A message from Mom. Emma, what's going on? Michael just called. He sounded shaken. Then another. And why are you on CNBC right now? As I stepped into the lobby, The headlines were breaking. Nova Technologies CEO revealed, "Meet the billion-dollar woman who built an empire in silence." The security guard who had dismissed me earlier now stood straighter. "Ms. Wilson," he said respectfully. Outside, my driver held open the door, not to a Volvo, but to the Rolls-Royce I reserved for formal meetings. Through the glass, I saw Michael still frozen in the lobby, staring out, watching his world shift. My phone buzzed again. The family group chat lit up with messages, questions, shock, forwarded articles, emojis, links, exclamations. People who had ignored me for years suddenly remembered we were related. I didn't reply, not yet. Instead, I gave the driver a new destination. To the old office, I said. The strip mall still stood, unchanged, a humble shell for what had once been my decoy, and the birthplace of something extraordinary. As the sun dipped below the skyline, painting Boston in gold, I thought about success. Not the kind that's shouted across boardrooms. Not the kind flaunted in suits and headlines. The kind that builds quietly, endures, and, when the moment is right, arrives. My phone lit up one final time. "Michael, I'm sorry. I was wrong, and I'm proud of you, sis." I looked out at the city I helped transform. He finally saw me. And that, more than any dollar amount, felt like the real victory.